Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name is Jeremy Ajma, and today I'm going to show you how to put together a pinball machine that's been all taken apart. Because of the layout of my basement, it is very difficult to get a machine that's fully together down successfully. Tight stairs, up at the top of the stairs, it's definitely tricky to get around a corner. Not really the best situation. Narrow doorway, that kind of stuff. It's just a lot easier to get them, to completely take them apart and haul them up or down the stairs. But you might be in a situation where you're in a house, you're buying a pinball machine, it's all apart already. Maybe you got a great deal on something. So hopefully this will help you. It's really not that bad. You're just kind of going through the motions, figuring out how it goes together. It's not that big a deal. So we're going to change the other camera and I'll show you the individual pieces and then we'll get started. I have been making some great progress on the Bride of Pinbot with the help of my buddy Scott with the cabinet. Corner glued up beautifully, and just tonight I asked one of my neighbors if he knew somebody who had a table saw, and he said, I've got something, which I didn't really know. And yeah, we made that block out of a 2x4 really quick and easy and worked out great. And I put even some of the original nails back in and glued it in, so it should be great. Been able to clean up the cabinet, do a little vacuum job, and wipe it down, get some of that coil dust off. That's looking good. The line cord was in great condition. I'm sure I replaced that when I initially went through in 2013, and surprisingly, it's still pretty good. Let's see here. Used the Dremel, went to town on the flipper switches here. I'll probably end up replacing them, but for now, it's just to kind of get it up and running and everything. Let's see, added my pin gulp, custom pin gulp here. This is actually a TNA pin gulp, but it works for this. Kind of like it on the darker cabinets. Still looks pretty good. And I like my pin gulps on the front. That way I can walk in between these machines when they're close together and not really have too big of an issue. What else we got? Like I said, the this corner turned out really great. Nice and tight here. Looks good. Thank you very much, Scott. And cleaned up, found 2 legs out of the 4 that were good looking. Put those in the front. Put some new levelers on. And also, one more important thing is I have this tap, which is 5/16 size by, what is it here? 16, right? Is it 5/16, 16? No, it's 3/8. I apologize. 3/8 by 16. 3/8 by 16. That is the leg bolt size, and also the bolt for the levelers. So I got new levelers, and I put longer leg bolts in front, and I ran a tap through the holes for the cabinet and the legs, so everything fit perfectly. And we just got to assemble everything here. We got the playfield ready to go. I haven't done anything with it. I still have to do work to it, but I don't think I'll have to take it out again. Got the translate all cleaned up, so that's looking great. And that's pretty much it. We just got the 2 main harnesses there to schlep in. We'll probably get the cabinet in the general area where I want it, which is going to be right over there next to Pinbot where she belongs. Don't want to keep her too far away from her hubby there. And yeah, should be good. Okay, so since I got it on the cart, what I'm going to do is lower it down and get the back box put on first. I will say that this is an awesome time to replace the power cord if it needs it. I'm pretty sure I replaced the power cord back in 2013 on this. I looked at it, the ground plug is still intact and the cord is in good condition, so we're not going to replace it now because there's no need. Alright, so to get the back box on, it's pretty darn simple, but I'll just set up the other camera here and we'll get stuff going here. Got the lock up on top here. After it's unlocked, it's just pulled up and out on the translate. Put the translate in a safe place so it doesn't get damaged. Once we get it set up on there, we'll open this door and we'll pull out this panel. And then we can put our wing nuts in. Or we can also, we'll bolt up the hinges there first. But let's start by getting it set up on top. A lot easier to do when the body of the is low. Way easy. Okay, now that we got it set up on here, let's lay this down. Actually, this is all disconnected, so we can pull it right out. Hopefully we didn't damage anything here. Yeah, it looks all right. All right. And then we've got the hinges here to install. What those are going to be is a set of this plate and 3 carriage bolts and nuts. They just go right up in there, and the plates, so right in the corners here. Pretty straightforward. Give you a close-up view here. Okay, here's our side bracket, and here's the 3 carriage bolts. And on the inside here, here's our metal plate underneath the grounding wire here. And 3 nuts, and we'll just tighten those up after we get the other side. Alright, I left the bolts loose on these so I can move the head around a little bit. I'm going to install the bolts. There's 2 bolts here. And I'm going to tighten those up and make sure everything's centered. These are the 2 bolts I was talking about. One goes on one side of the opening, one goes on the other. This is to secure the back box so it doesn't flop down. The hinge in back is not, or the latch in back should not be used as the only device to hold this in place. Okay, we got things lined up enough. Put this guy in. Man, that sucker's really dished. Somebody really had that sucker cranked. Okay, where's my ratchet at? Everything is in place. Okay, this guy can feed up in. Now comes the fun part, wiring up the back box. It looks daunting. There are a lot of connections up in here, but what's great is if you took pictures before, you can reference them. If you didn't, the harnesses are usually long enough that you can kind of figure out where things went, because the harnesses, they don't put any extra wire in there. There's no need to. That'd be a waste of money. So we're going to start with the cabinet harness, as it were. And that's mainly for the switches and whatnot in the switches in the cabinet and whatnot. And then we'll run the power harness up, and then we'll get the playfield in. And I do have a rather nasty connector that I'm going to have to fix later. I don't think any wires are broken off of it. It's probably still working okay, but I do have a burnt one there. That one will need to be changed, but that'll be at a later time. The game was working 100% when I bought it. Not perfectly, but everything worked on it, and yeah, just something fun, you know? Also, it pays to be neat. If you lay it out neat now, it'll just be so much nicer to work on later. There are a couple of connectors that are linked together. All three of these on this board are just straight up lines. It doesn't matter where the connector goes in each one. Same thing over here. These two, these two, these two. Well, this one's not, obviously. But I believe this one and this one and this one and this one are tied together, up and down like that. So it doesn't really matter which one goes in where. But these for sure are. If you look on the schematic, they're all tied together. In the cabinet wiring harness here, there is a super important connector. It is the ground connector right here. It goes, the original sticker can go missing, but there is a wing nut right here that ties in the cabinet grounding into the back box grounding. Very important this gets put on. Also, when you take the head off, you gotta pull this off, otherwise you rip it off, which is not good. But this has to be on there. If it's not on there, make yourself a new one. Connect the wire from this braided cable right here down to the cabinet braid, and everything will hopefully work better then. Another cool thing is a lot of these boards, they're labeled what they are: cabinet switches, column drives, switch rows. So I knew that that one had to be cabinet switches for that, even though I didn't have it marked. So it's quite handy. So there are also J numbers on here. So way back in 2013, I labeled these. This one was 120, and underneath here it says 120. So it's pretty darn handy. This connector here that I've got does not have a number on it. But if you look here, there is like a blank off plug. We've got 2 open spots blank and 4 open spots. Because this thing can't reach very far, there's not too many places for it to go. But if we look right over here, we have 1 pin, 2 pin, empty space, and then 4. And then I know it goes right there. Like I said, we want to be neat, so we'll just kind of put it in front of or behind various connectors as we see fit. Whatever looks nice. And we'll stick this guy behind. There we go. And then, yeah, it should work fine. This may seem daunting, because there's a lot of wires on here, but it's just all one harness, and I've tied it up with a couple of zip ties here that I will cut when the playfield's all put back in, and we'll get the harness looped back around. It's really not all that bad. There's a lot of connectors, but it's definitely doable. Let's get it put in. The playfield, when it's in the upright position, sits on these pegs. There's a peg here. There's a peg over here. And this is what I got to get it into. So I will maneuver the playfield and we'll get it set into these hooks, and it'll just lock right in there. And there are some blocks in the playfield, or in the cabinet, to allow it to sit upright without resting against the back box. So we could put it in first, but I believe it's easier this way. Okay, that was a chore, but not too bad with this playfield. Here we go. It is on the hook. The other one's in there too. You can't really see it too well. But she pivots now. We can cut those wires, loop them up back inside, hook them up. Shoot. Didn't have a camera rolling. Okay, here we go. We are all up in here. That wasn't too bad at all. We just got to look at some connector numbers that I got on here and route our cables nice, put it in all the clips, make it look nice and neat. That is the goal. And there are some jumpers that go from this board to this board that I've disconnected. This one's off, this one's off. We just got to remember to put those back on. Okay, what we got left is our speaker panel and probably a few other little tidbits here. We'll just go looking around for the various connectors, and won't take long. We'll get it all figured out. If I have any questions, I got my photos. Plus, there's Internet Pinball database that has pictures of the back boxes. That works really good for this kind of stuff. Shoot. Now the little camera isn't working. I didn't have it turned on. Didn't have it recording. Oh well. All right. Take 2. Alright, we got everything connected. I wasn't sure where this wire went. And I looked at pictures on my phone. It's like, I showed every connector that was open on here. Like, there's a lot of connectors that aren't connected on this thing. This is a general board for a lot of different games. Like we say, there's a lot of connectors that don't have anything connected to them. So, what was my problem? Well, then I thought, it's like, wait a minute. Is there something on this board that I'm missing? And here underneath this little protective cover, there's a high power connection right there. So there's a connector here, ribbon cable, and then we got a small connector for the 4 lights on here. So we are ready to power this on and try it out. Just got to make sure that there's no wires or anything attached or jammed underneath the board, which there probably are. That looks pretty good. Okay, that looks nice. That looks nice. Oh boy, let's find a spot to plug her in. Okay, let's test it out. 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's power it on and see what happens. Okay, looks pretty good. I am pretty darn happy with what we got going on here. I knew the general illumination in the back box did not work when I bought it, and that's okay. But, yeah. All the other lights on the playfield are working. Let's put in some balls here and just do a little quick test. These balls are in pretty good condition. Of course, we'll clean everything eventually before we really play it. To load up balls in a pinball, you just gently set them in there. Solenoids are working. All right. Let's hit the old start button and see what happens. Okay, first off, turn down our volume. And as we see here, as we move the volume sliders, looks pretty good so far. We've got a ball in the shooter lane. We don't have any flippers, but hey, it's a start. Got all the other coils. Flippers are not working though. Well, that's an okay problem to figure out. All right, we got everything together. I'm going to call it right now, and yeah, pretty happy with that. So it wasn't too hard to get back together. The flippers, I don't really expect that to be too much of anything. Probably just a connector down on the board down in the corner there. That's where everything interconnects. Or maybe I didn't plug in the switches for the flippers. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out, but hey, that's half the fun. Me again. Here's what I found. I did not reconnect the switches after I cleaned them. Both of these were disconnected. Considering all the other coils work, I think we're good. Okay, just to wrap things up, as you saw, it was just the switches for the flippers. I did not plug them back in because I had just cleaned them. And hey, it's okay. Little stuff like that happens. But as you can see, it's really not that difficult. Just takes a little planning and whatnot. We got some areas to work on. There's some little things to fix, but I knew that when I bought it, so I'm okay with that 100%. And yeah, everything is working on it as it was when I first tested it. Got a ball in the shooter lane here. Our flippers work. Whoa, got the skill shot. Whoa! So I'm definitely looking forward to it here. So yeah, let's see here, right down the middle. But I'm really looking forward to playing this and streaming it. So for those of you who aren't aware, I do streaming on YouTube as of now on Saturdays and Twitch on Sunday. But be sure to check me out, and of course my channel partner Ed and all our friends on Pinball Mayhem. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a great day.